I guess when I was growing up, I would have really identified myself as like a Pacific Northwesterner and like kind of a person from here. I think over time that has changed somewhat. I think that what I really feel like I am and who I am is not a teacher, honestly. Like, I know it sounds a little corny, but like I really come to believe that that's what I do best and that's what is most useful for me. So like I guess my identity has really shifted from like a person to like more of a communicator and like more of a sharer. Why do I do what I do? I think that it's like everybody's responsibility to be part of teaching and part of passing on knowledge as a human. I kind of believe like really strongly that human society like is very important and that being pro-social and being about each other is like extremely important, and there's essentially nothing purer than passing on knowledge and understanding. And I think that I have a strong ability to think through hard things and to communicate complicated ideas in a way that is simpler, at least, and can get people to the answer. And so like I really feel like I've found a very nice location in my career where I can convey complicated ideas to people, and I feel very mission and passion oriented about that. Oh, my work-life balance or whatever. My daily, it really shifts depending on the season. So like in the summer I don't work. I play disc golf and I enjoy vacation and traveling and all that stuff. And then when I'm here at the university, I'd say I'm mostly talking to students all day long, most days, and I really like that. So I teach, I give lectures, I run labs and stuff, and manage teams of graduate students and undergraduate students, and I spend my days talking science, and that's a lot of fun. Yeah. But I really value that. Like I work, and then I'm completely off. Able to pursue my own interests for months at a time. My favorite part of teaching neuroscience is solving the puzzle myself. Like, I love, conveying it to others. I love that transfer of knowledge. But more than anything, I honestly like figuring it out and then conveying that cool thing I might have missed the first time, or it's difficult to see, and conveying that to other people. Like, that's super fun. Like, solve it, convey it, solve it, convey it. So like, I guess that's my favorite part about it. But overall, it's the teaching itself, the time on the scientific problems, the time discussing the math and the models and all that stuff. And yes, I'll keep it in the positive.
Our next question is, what strategies do you implement in your teaching to ensure engagement from your students?
Yeah, good question. Asking a lot of questions of students, giving them enough time to linger on those questions, not providing answers immediately, just bringing a lot of enthusiasm. Of course, like, enthusiasm can be really exhausting if you're a student, if it's like enthusiasm that's clearly being put on. But I think that like when a teacher is genuinely excited about what they're telling you, it's just so much more engaging. So I think there's a huge educator effect on the quality of learning and instruction for students. But how do I actually engage during the classroom? Questions, asking discussion questions, having people discuss with each other, bringing those ideas to the whole class and correcting, and so as much back and forth and as much question asking and exciting as I can. I think that we misunderstand our value add at universities in the modern era. I think that we are much more a place of experience and providing experiences, meaningful experiences, and should not be focused on knowledge delivery as much. because, to be honest, if you go online, you can find better delivery of a lot of the basic knowledge that we're providing at the university. And I worry that we're not adapting enough to be more experiential, right? So like, that's why I love teaching these labs, is that you can tell, I could deliver all this information to you and you still wouldn't understand it. Like having to wrestle through the model and the thinking and like, how do you analyze data? How do you think about what you're going to acquire? How do you, like, the motor skills that you need? All of that stuff is not learnable on YouTube, right? Though, and to contrast that with, the very basic, ideas about, ionic gradients and stuff like that, although it's cool that we, work with that and deliver that information, I do think there are probably better explanations on the internet. So I really think that the universities need to understand where we actually provide student value. So the curricula need to be focused more on experiential learning. So I wasn't going to do neuroscience. I had no idea what I was going to do. So I'm a high school dropout. I worked as a plumber for 3 years. I had no idea I would be a scientist. That's like so absurdly far from where I was. I could have graduated high school with a D average if I would have gotten all A's as a senior. I was very far away from thinking about academics. I took a couple science classes and I failed all of them in high school. So why did I become a neuroscientist? It had to do really with social rewards, social incentives for quite some time. So when I went back to college, I got my GED and went back to college when I was 21. And at that time, there was just so much, I just came back with so much curiosity about how the world worked, and most importantly, there were people there that I could impress with my pursuit of those topics. And so I could work with this faculty member and then the other faculty member, and those faculty members, as I invested my own energy, they responded with investments of opportunity, right? Using some of their ability to provide opportunities for me. So a series of personal relationships led me eventually to graduate school, which was not for neuroscience at all. I went to graduate school for molecular biology, and I was thinking about studying the adaptive immune system of bacteria. You all know it now as CRISPR-Cas9, but at the time it was an adaptive immune system of bacterial cells, and I was very interested in these adaptive properties. And then it started to get really big, and I didn't want to keep pursuing that. So anyway, I had no idea about neuroscience. I mean, I'd taken, seen a couple of lectures and stuff, but it wasn't until I was about to drop out of my graduate program, honestly. So I was at graduate school. I was at Harvard. I was 4 rotations in. It was September of my second year. And I took a month off of graduate school and came back. And the director of the program, Catherine Duloc, she told me I should look into this new professor, Ben de Vivor. And it was honestly, the reason that I ended up doing neuroscience is because he was such a good person. And it was nice to finally be around somebody that was just genuinely good, that was caring and curious and really interested in fun mathematical modeling problems that, just as I was talking about before, these problems that you get to solve are very inspirational and fun to me. So I went into neuroscience because the fun questions were there and the personal relationships were there. Yeah, well, it is a bit different because, so my bioinformatics history and my computational history at the beginning of my time, I think has really shaped me because a lot of the opportunities that I got along the way were because of computer skills, right? Programming skills and that kind of thing. And I just recognized how completely indispensable it is to understand how to compute things and how to build models and how to think quantitatively as well as qualitatively, right? How to go beyond a cartoon, right? So I think the bioinformatics and stuff, that skill set really has pushed me to make sure to incorporate that in my own curriculum, right? So this is why I teach the programming class, and since I started here, I've been wanting to incorporate more computer programming into the curriculum. So I think that those early experiences really affected me there. Yeah, I would say, yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, there's like a common pattern throughout my life of like do, crash, and nobody can get me to do anything, and then do, crash. So that's been challenging several times, right? It was challenging in high school, it was challenging at the beginning of graduate school, it was also challenging as a postdoc, because when I was a postdoc, and COVID, of course, everyone has this kind of a story, but even before that, I was really finding motivation very hard to come by. Like, the problems were still intellectually interesting, but they were socially completely uninteresting, right? Like, I believe so much in this mission of as a scientist, of changing the world for the better and improving other people's understanding. And as a researcher, you just don't get that much opportunity to change people, right? You spend so much time asking certain specific questions, refining models, refining your techniques, and pushing out the boundaries of knowledge just this little bit. And I think, to me, at my core, I'm just much more of a social person than that. Just much more engaged in that process. So as a postdoc, I just felt so isolated. And then COVID hit, I couldn't find any motivation. I couldn't go to work. I had to take leave of absence. And in that leave of absence, I did some soul searching and thinking about what did I actually enjoy versus what was I good at. And it was just, teaching just became really obvious to me. So how did I overcome? By changing a lot, actually. By not ignoring it, right? Because I had been ignoring for some time that I didn't feel like I cared about what I was doing, right? And facing that, even though it's scary, it's like, oh no, I built up all this, all this potential, and now I'm throwing that away. But if I wouldn't have faced it head on, I would still be miserable, right? No matter what, no matter if I'd gotten a job somewhere or whatever. So how did I face big challenges in the past? By making radical decisions that really changed the course of my life. If you just care about people, the diversity comes right along with that, because it's whoever's in front of you, just care about them. That is how you advocate for diversity. One of the biggest reasons that people from diverse backgrounds and especially underrepresented backgrounds become alienated from social groups and stuff is that they're separated. They have to keep separated. They don't get engaged fully, because you have a big classroom full of passive transfer of knowledge. How is that going to engage anyone and make you feel like you're part of that space, when it's just a race to who can raise their hand fastest, and the race is always won by the people with more experience, right? And so where have I seen diversity implemented in the neuroscience curriculum? Well, I hope here, right? Hopefully this is a space of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I feel people of diverse backgrounds wanting to be engaged in the neuroscience classroom. We have a lot of peer facilitators, now over almost 24, 23 peer facilitators that all want to be involved in teaching and creating community. So where do I see the best work on diversity, equity, and inclusion is about cohort building and about making people interact with each other that would have kept themselves self-isolated, because I really think that's the biggest problem. You come to an institution, it doesn't mean you're part of the group. Right? You have to force people to interact with each other, be part of it, and invite them into a space where they can be their best. So my scope is small. I deal with these classes that I deal with. I interact with these students that I interact with. I know people have all kinds of different diversity missions I hope they're all working well. The only one I can really speak to is within the major. I think that I'm less inclined to believe in anything people say about how the brain works and about how decision making works. Like, I think at some point in time, I think I would have been kind of swayed by these simplistic evolutionary arguments about how we think and how we behave and how we make decisions. And I think that, like, the more you study about what neuroscience actually is and how we actually study the brain and what we actually know about it, the more it just becomes clear that we have no answers to the evolutionary problems and the deep kind of behavioral issues. So, like, to me, it's rejecting junk. That's the biggest way that it's changed my mind. Yeah, so I started learning the mandolin a few years ago. I've been really enjoying that. I spend a lot of time disc golfing. So weekend days, I'm out all day disc golfing, which is really nice. It's like hiking with a reason. I was writing for a while, but during the academic time, I end up writing a lot of handouts and not a lot of like creative writing. But yeah, I'd say playing the mandolin, disc golfing, juggling, playing chess. The chess can actually be kind of the stress one. It's like not a stress reliever, it's like a stress expression, right? When I am stressed, then I play chess, So, yeah. I just want to express how much I think that you owe to the world, right? We sit here at the University of Washington. You've gotten here by whatever hard work and fortune that led you to this moment. But, like, your responsibility to the world doesn't end at the people around you. And as you move forward in your life, you will become more and more surrounded by people that are like you and more separated from society overall. And I think it's extremely important to fight that and to use your immense talent and your immense work ethic and all of those resources that you have on hand to make the world better for other people, and not just you and your family, but that the greater society, you owe to the greater society